a class 4 apparition. It's okay, she seems peaceful. My name is Erin Gilbert, doctor of particle physics. That stuff went everywhere, by the way, in every crack. Very hard to wash off.
We've dedicated our whole life.
In a world where the boundary between the living and the lingering has never been more unstable, the Ghostbusters find themselves once again standing at the intersection of chaos and courage. The city they once saved countless times has grown quieter on the surface, but beneath that silence, a storm of supernatural energy has been gathering slowly, invisibly, and far more intelligently than anything they faced before. Rumors whisper through old buildings, echoing in pipes and abandoned subway tunnels, suggesting that the ghosts of the past have not only returned, but have evolved. Instead of appearing in predictable bursts of ectoplasmic mischief, they are coordinating, waiting, and watching. The familiar hum of proton packs becomes a comforting sound in a world where shadows themselves have started acting like they have unfinished business. And so, once more, the team finds themselves called to step into the unknown, following trails of spectral residue that point to something ancient stirring beneath the city's foundations. The story deepens as strange phenomena begin sweeping through neighborhoods that were once considered safe. Children speak of glowing figures walking through walls at night, leaving behind the faint smell of burnt ozone. Streetlights flicker in synchronized patterns as if responding to unseen commands. Electronic devices glitch with eerie whispers layered between static. But what grabs the Ghostbusters' attention more than anything is the sudden reactivation of dormant ghost traps in their old storage vault. Devices that haven't been touched for years start rattling violently on their own, as though something inside is trying desperately to escape. It becomes clear that whatever is happening isn't a random spike of paranormal activity. It's connected to something powerful enough to awaken every trapped spirit they've ever encountered. And as the team gathers to analyze the readings, they realize that the supernatural energy signature doesn't match any class or category recorded before. It is darker, heavier, and resonating like a heartbeat beneath the city. Throughout the unfolding mystery, the team confronts the uncomfortable truth that they may have underestimated the lingering effects of past battles. Old experiments, hidden chambers, and forgotten relics stored deep in their headquarters begin emitting the same spectral pulse. It is as if every unresolved encounter, every ghost they believed they had contained, and every tear in the dimensional fabric has begun sinking to a single source. As they dig deeper into the energy patterns, they uncover something far more disturbing. The ghosts aren't being drawn to the city they're being summoned. Not by a single entity, but by a network of spiritual signatures acting like beacons. It seems the paranormal world has finally found a way to communicate across dimensions in ways the Ghostbusters never imagined. And now someone or something is orchestrating their return. As chaos spreads, the city reacts in predictable and unpredictable ways. Some citizens panic, convinced that the end is near, while others treat the sightings as entertainment, filming them for online clout. But the true threat unfolds quietly. People begin acting strangely, not possessed, but influenced. Their emotions intensify unnaturally, their fears grow sharper, and their anger becomes almost contagious. The Ghostbusters soon realize that the supernatural disturbance isn't just manifesting in physical forms. It is affecting the collective emotional energy of the entire city. The ghosts seem to be feeding on fear, growing stronger with every frightened reaction. And if fear continues to spread at its current rate, the ghosts may reach a level of power that no proton pack, no containment unit, and no scientific breakthrough can hold back. In the midst of this rising tension, the Ghostbusters uncover a hidden chamber beneath the city, one that predates modern construction and feels impossibly out of sync with the world above it. Inside this vast underground structure, ancient carvings depict figures battling entities that resemble early interpretations of ghosts, not as floating specters, but as conscious forces capable of influencing the living. These murals tell the story of a forgotten guardian society tasked with keeping spectral dimensions sealed. But at some point in history, their efforts failed, leaving the responsibility to fall unknowingly on future generations. This revelation shakes the Ghostbusters, who suddenly find themselves inheriting a duty far older and more profound than their original mission of catching mischievous spirits. They are now protectors of a fragile barrier that has been weakening for centuries. As the situation escalates, the Ghostbusters push their technology to its limits. Proton packs are recalibrated to channel bursts of focused spectral pressure. Traps are modified to withstand energy levels far beyond their intended capacity. Sensors are introduced that can analyze the emotional signatures of entire neighborhoods. While gearing up for what could be the most dangerous mission of their careers, they also confront internal struggles. Doubts arise. Past mistakes resurface. The weight of responsibility becomes heavier, especially as they realize that if they fail, this time the consequences won't be limited to a few mischievous apparitions roaming free. It will be catastrophic. But even under the pressure of impending disaster, their signature humor and resilience remain intact, reminding themselves and the world that sometimes courage is simply refusing to run when every instinct tells you to. As the ghosts grow bolder, the city begins shifting into two parallel reflections. Streets appear duplicated, buildings flicker between physical and spectral forms, and people momentarily find themselves trapped between both realities. These distortions indicate that the barrier separating the living world from the spectral realm is tearing open. The Ghostbusters trace the epicenter of the dimensional breach to an abandoned industrial district where the energy readings spike beyond anything on their instruments. When they arrive, they find a massive vortex pulsing in the center of the ruins, swirling with the faces of countless, restless spirits. But unlike previous encounters, these spirits do not attack immediately. They seem to be waiting, anticipating something. And then it becomes clear the vortex is a doorway, but it is not fully open yet. Something is holding it back. Something is coming. As they prepare for the final confrontation, the Ghostbusters face a phenomenon that defies everything they know. A colossal, spectral entity begins forming inside the vortex, not from one ghost, but from thousands fusing together into a single consciousness. This collective being is not evil in the traditional sense. It is driven by centuries of accumulated sorrow, anger, and unfinished purpose. It seeks release, not destruction, but its sheer power threatens to consume both worlds in the process. The Ghostbusters realize they cannot simply trap or blast it. They must weaken its emotional foundation. For the first time in their history, they attempt something new. Instead of fighting with weapons, they fight with understanding. They project calming energy through modified equipment, attempting to break the loop of emotional feedback that fuels the massive entity. This risky plan forces them to rely not just on science, but on the human side of the supernatural. As the vortex destabilizes, the spectral entity begins shrinking, breaking apart into smaller fragments of individuality. Ghosts all across the city feel the shift and begin losing their coordinated strength. With the emotional current finally interrupted, the Ghostbusters unleash a surge of proton energy that seals the dimensional tier. The resulting blast of light floods the industrial district, leaving behind silence, dust, and the faint crackle of dissipated energy. Slowly, the city begins returning to normal. Lights stop flickering. People regain emotional balance. And the ghosts vanish, leaving behind only a residue of peace and exhaustion. The Ghostbusters stand in the rubble, bruised but victorious, realizing they have just prevented an event that could have reshaped the fabric of reality. In the aftermath, the world acknowledges the Ghostbusters with renewed respect. Yet beneath the celebration lies a quiet truth. The breach may have been sealed, but the emotional link between the two worlds remains fragile. The Ghostbusters decide that their mission is far from over. They commit to studying the deeper connection between human emotion and the spectral realm, understanding that the next threat may not come from a monstrous being, but from the collective emotional energy of humanity itself. They begin developing new tools and techniques that blend science and empathy, hoping to build a future where the living and the lingering can coexist without conflict. Though the city slowly returns to its rhythm, the Ghostbusters remain watchful. Strange whispers continue occasionally in the oldest parts of town. Shadows still behave oddly on certain nights. And in the basement of their headquarters, one of the old ghost traps rattles faintly, as if something inside remembers the chaos that nearly unfolded. The Ghostbusters exchange knowing glances, understanding that peace in their world is never permanent, but it is always worth fighting for. Their story continues, filled with new mysteries, new challenges, and a renewed commitment to protect the world from whatever stirs behind the veil.